Guys, welcome back to Food Edge. So today in this video we are going to discuss about the Maillard reaction. The non-enzymatic browning reaction is otherwise called as Maillard reaction, and it is a chemical reaction taking place between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives food brown color and distinctive flavor. So whenever the aldoses or the ketose sugar are heated, so heat is a driving factor for this reaction. So whenever they are heated with amines are nothing but the nitrogen containing compounds like the amino acids. So whenever they are heated with amines, a variety of reactions ensue producing numerous compounds. So some of the compounds may add flavor and some may be the aroma producing compounds, and some compounds are the dark colored polymeric materials which adds the final color to the product. So as the reaction continues, both the reactant disappear slowly. So the flavors, aroma and color formed at the end of the Maillard reaction may be either desirable or sometimes undesirable. So this flavor, aroma and color are produced slowly during storage and much more rapidly during high temperature treatments such as frying, roasting or baking. So Maillard reaction has several steps in it, and the first step is conversion of the reducing sugar, and here it is D-glucose, to the Amadori compounds. So the reducing sugar reacts reversibly with the amine to form a Schiff's base. So this Schiff's base is an imine intermediate and its general formula is HRC double bond NHR, and this Schiff's base may cyclize, that is they form a ring structure and that ring structure is called the glycosyl amine, which is also called as N-glycoside. So the Schiff's base also undergoes a reaction called the Amadori rearrangement, and if the initial reacting sugar is D-glucose, then the derivative formed at the end of Amadori rearrangement is 1-amino 1-deoxy D-fructose, which is also called as Amadori compound. So this Amadori compound is the early intermediate of the Maillard browning reaction. So here is the reaction sequence of the conversion of D-glucose to Amadori compounds, where you can see the initial reactants glucose and nitrogen containing amine compounds, and they react and they form the imine intermediate, which is nothing but the Schiff's base, and this Schiff's base may cyclize to form the glucosyl amine, and also they undergo Amadori rearrangement in order to form the Amadori compound, which is the 1-amino 1-deoxy fructose. So next is the conversion of Amadori compounds to the ozones. So Amadori compounds undergo transformation via 4 known pathways, starting with 4 different intermediates formed from them. So the result is the complex mixture of intermediates and products. So result of this transformation is the complex mixture of intermediates and products. So the 3 of the 4 intermediates formed by the rearrangement and elimination are the 1, 3 and 4 deoxy dicarbonyl compounds, which are commonly known as 1, 3 and 4 deoxy ozones. So this 1, 3 and 4 deoxy ozones are also called as dicarbonyls. So dicarbonyls are the compounds containing 2 functional groups. So the formation of these intermediates, that is this 1, 3 and 4 deoxy ozone, occurs readily at the pH 4 to 5, and the most prevalent among these intermediates is 3-deoxy ozone. That is, this 3-deoxy ozone continues the further Maillard reaction, and this compound is otherwise called as 3-deoxy hexulose. So next is the conversion of ozones to HMF. So the 3-deoxy ozone is converted to HMF, which is nothing but hydroxymethyl furfural. So the ozones can cyclize in the same way that the aldoses do. They also will undergo dehydration, especially at high temperatures. So the reaction continues at pH 5 or lower. So again the acidic pH, in order to give an intermediate that also dehydrates. And fortunately, this intermediate formed is nothing but a furan derivative. And if the initial reactant is a hexo sugar, then the furan derivative is called the 5-hydroxymethyl 2-furaldehyde, which is commonly known as hydroxymethyl furfural. And if in case the initial reactant is a pentose sugar like xylose, then the furan derivative formed is fufural or furaldehyde. So here is the reaction sequence of conversion of Amadori compounds to 3-deoxyhexylose, which is nothing but the 3-deoxyozone, and 3-deoxyozone to HMF. So here you can see the Amadori compound undergoes a series of reactions and they form the 3-deoxyozone, which is a dicarbonyl compound. So it has two functional groups, which is nothing but the aldehydic group and the ketonic group. And as we saw in the theory, this 3-deoxyozone undergoes dehydration reaction in order to form the hydroxymethyl furaldehyde. So this is a cyclic compound and this is the structure of hydroxymethyl fufural. So next is the conversion of this hydroxymethyl fufural to the melanoidin. So under less acidic conditions, that is pH greater than 5. So the conversion of D-glucose to HMF takes place in the acidic condition, where the conversion of HMF to melanoidin takes place in less acidic condition. So in this less acidic condition, the reactive cyclic compounds like the HMF, fufural and other compounds, and also the other amino or the nitrogen containing compounds polymerize, that is they undergo the polymerization reaction in order to form a dark colored insoluble material containing nitrogen, and this material or this compound is what you call as the melanoidin or the actual coloring compound. So the amino acids and the furans are almost or always incorporated into the polymeric end products. So the individual polymers constituting melanoidin vary in color. So depending upon the compounds that make the polymeric structure, the melanoidin may vary in the color, that is from brown to black, and they may also vary in the molecular weight, nitrogen content and insolubility. So few important points about the melanoidin. So they are the variety of colored compounds, and the variety arises from the variety of intermediates and the variety of possible condensation reactions. And some may contain nitrogen, some may contain only carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms. But all the melanoidin compounds contain aromatic rings and conjugated double bonds. So apart from the actual Maillard main chain reaction, there are also several other intermediate reactions taking place simultaneously. So let us discuss them in detail. So before getting into the intermediate reactions, there is one point which you have to note. So whenever there are higher concentrations of compounds containing primary amino groups, such as primary amino acids like L-lysine are present, then the products formed are pyroles. So along with the furan molecules, the products formed are called as pyroles. So pyroles and furans, they differ in the ring formation structure, where the ring of the furans has oxygen atom, whereas the ring of pyroles has nitrogen atom in it. So getting into the other intermediate reactions, so 1-deoxyozone, which is an intermediate compound formed during the conversion of Amadori compounds to ozone. So this 1-deoxyozone is formed along with 4 and 3-deoxyozone. So this 3-deoxyozone carries out the further main chain Maillard reaction, whereas this 1-deoxyozone, it leads to the formation of sugar alcohols, which is maltol and isomaltol. So these two compounds are the main compounds that contribute to flavor and aroma of the bread. So next reaction is other intermediates that are called reductones are also formed during the formation of melanoidin. So these reductones are also formed from 1-deoxyozones. So these reductones are nothing but antioxidants. So they undergo further redox reactions and form several other intermediates. So the next reaction is conversion of amino acid to aldehydes. So here you can see cleavage of ozones is our first reaction. So we know that ozones is a dicarbonyl molecule, that is it has two functional groups, aldehydic and ketonic. So the cleavage of the bonds takes place either between the two carbonyl groups or at the site of enediol. So as a result of this cleavage, the product formed is aldehydes, which undergo further reactions. So the next reaction, before seeing the next reaction, here you can see that 3-deoxyhexylose, which is nothing but 3-deoxyozone, undergoes a secondary or a side chain reaction. That is, they react with the primary amines again, and they form the Strecker aldehydes or the aldehydes. And we will see what are these Strecker aldehydes and how are they formed. That is, the actual reaction is called as Strecker degradation. So we'll see in detail in the upcoming slides. So this Strecker degradation is a side chain reaction occurring simultaneously along the main chain Maillard reaction. So here you can see the main chain reaction takes place and HMF is formed. And this HMF again, they form the polymerized products, which is nothing but the melanoidin. So moving on to the next is again the same heading. So it is a reaction of dicarbonyl compounds. So the ozones and deoxyozones, which are nothing but the dicarbonyl compounds, they undergo Strecker degradation. So what is the definition of Strecker degradation? So when this ozones and deoxyozones, they react with alpha amino acids or primary amino acids, this amino acid is converted into an aldehyde. So this aldehyde is what you called as Strecker aldehyde, and this aldehyde contains a side chain by the way of imine intermediate. So we know that imine intermediate is nothing but the Schiff's base. So this Schiff's base is formed, and this Schiff's base undergoes decarboxylation, dehydration, and elimination in order to produce an aldehyde, which is called as the Strecker aldehyde. And this aldehyde is one carbon shorter than the actual amino acid. So these aldehydes, it might be the normal aldehyde or the Strecker aldehyde. So these aldehydes that are produced from amino acids are often major contributors to the final aroma that is seen in the product and as a result of non-enzymatic browning. So moving on to the next, the mutagens or the harmful agents that are formed as a result of this Maillard reaction. So we saw in the definition of the Strecker degradation that the alpha amino acid reacts with the dicarbonyl ozones or deoxyozones, and they forms the imine intermediate, which is nothing but the Schiff's base, and this Schiff's base undergoes decarboxylation, dehydration, and elimination, and they form the Strecker aldehyde. So this Strecker aldehyde is a main source for the formation of acrylamide. So acrylamide is a carcinogen that is formed from Strecker aldehyde via one pathway, and the other pathway is this decarboxylated Schiff's base leads to the formation of 3-aminopropionamide, which also leads to the formation of acrylamide. So this acrylamide is mainly seen in high temperature treatment products like frying of potatoes, baking of breads, etc. So let's discuss about the formation of acrylamide in a future video. So this is the overall outline which you have to know about the mutagens that are formed during Maillard reaction. So moving on to the next, this is the overall representation of the Maillard reaction which I have attached for your reference. So here you can see the amine groups which may include ammonia, phospholipids, amino acids and proteins. They react with carbonyl groups which are nothing but the reducing sugars which are present in the aldoses, ketoses, polysaccharides and oxidized lipids. So they on heat, so we saw that heat is a driving factor. So on heating, they produce the Amadori compounds, and these Amadori compounds undergo further reactions and they form the melanoidins via one pathway. And the other side chain pathway also leads to the formation of the carcinogen, which is the acrylamide. So here is the overall representation of the entire Maillard reaction with the side chains also. So you can use this picture for your reference and better understanding. So I'm not going to explain this picture because it consists of all the things that we saw in the theory. So we'll move on to the next. So the reaction conditions. So the product mixture formed is a function of temperature. As we know, it is a driving factor. And time, pH. So we saw that on acidic pH, this reaction rate is much higher. And also the nature of reducing sugar and the nature of amino acid compound. So different sugars undergo non-enzymatic browning at different rates. For example, D-glucose undergoes browning reaction faster than that of D-fructose. So the increasing order of the reaction rate, you can see pentose is greater than hexose, is greater than disaccharide, is greater than polysaccharide. So the pentose sugars are highly susceptible for Maillard reaction, followed by hexose and disaccharides, and at the last comes the polysaccharide. So next, the secondary amines give different reaction products than do primary amines. So it includes the secondary amino acids and primary amino acids also. So why? Because the reaction has relatively high energy of activation. So generally application of heat is required whenever the initial reacting amine group is a secondary amine. So the high energy of activation is nothing but whenever the energy of activation is higher in a reaction, the reaction rate will be lower. That is, activation energy is inversely proportional to the reaction rate. So in order to accelerate the reaction, some external energy has to be supplied, and that external energy is nothing but heat in case of Maillard reaction. So let's discuss about the aroma compounds that are formed during the Maillard reaction. So if the initial reacting amino acid is L-methionine, the aroma compound formed is 3-methyl-thiopropanol, otherwise called as methional. And if it is L-phenylalanine, then the aroma compound is phenylacetaldehyde. And if it is L-valine, then the aroma compound is methylpropanol. And if it is L-leucine, then the aroma compound is 3-methyl-butanol. And finally, if the initial reacting amino acid is L-isoleucine, then the aroma producing compound is 2-methyl-butanol. So we saw that a lot of intermediate reactions occur simultaneously to the main chain reaction. So all these aroma compounds are the product of the intermediate reactions, and we saw that intermediate reactions leads to the formation of aldehydes. So if you note that all these aroma compounds are aldehydic compounds, and so these convert to the aroma of the final product. So other reaction conditions include water activity. So Maillard reaction is also a function of water activity. So the water activity of range 0.6 to 0.7 is highly acceptable for the Maillard reaction to occur. So also this Maillard browning can be controlled by controlling water activity as well as by controlling other reaction conditions like the reactant concentrations, time, temperature, and pH. So sulfur dioxide and bisulfite ions, they react with the aldehydic groups. So here the aldehydic groups are not the intermediate products, but the reacting reducing sugars are referred as aldehydic groups in this point. So this aldehydic groups, when sulfur dioxide and bisulfite ions react with the aldehydic groups, they remove at least some of the reactant. So when some of the reactant is removed, it inhibits the Maillard browning, or also it can reduce the reaction rate. So the reactant includes reducing sugar, which is the initial reactant, or HMF or furfural, which are the secondary reactants. So next, color, taste, and aroma are in turn determined by the product mixture. So moving on to the next. So let us see some reaction variables that are used to increase or decrease the Maillard browning reaction. So first is the temperature. By decreasing the temperature and time at that particular temperature, the browning reaction can be reduced. Also, by decreasing the pH, the reaction rate also decreases. Why? Because pH is inversely proportional to the activation energy of the reaction. So we saw that activation energy is nothing but it reduces the rate of reaction. So whenever the pH is lower, the activation energy will be higher. So what happens is whenever the activation energy is higher, the reaction rate automatically reduces. So the reaction gets controlled. So next is the adjustment of water content. So we saw that the water activity of 0.6 to 0.7 is ideal for this reaction to take place. That is, the moisture content should be around 30% for this reaction to take place. So either we can have the product with higher moisture or lower moisture in order to control the Maillard reaction. Next, the specificity of sugar also is very important. And other than that, presence of transition metal ions such as Fe2 and Cu1 ions, because they involved in the free radical formation reactions at the end of the pigment forming process. So finally, let us look into the summary of the entire Maillard reaction process. So the Maillard browning products, including soluble and insoluble polymers, are formed when the reducing sugars and amino acids or proteins or other nitrogen containing compounds are heated together. So heating is the reaction condition. So this reaction can be seen in the formation of soy sauce and also in the formation of bread crusts. So the browning or the non-enzymatic browning is desired in baking, for example, in the formation of crusts and cookies, and it is also desired in the roasting of meats. The volatile compounds that are produced during baking, frying, or roasting often provide desirable aromas to the products. So application of heat to the intermediate moisture foods is generally required for the Maillard browning reaction to occur in them. So the products are also important contributors to flavors of chocolate, caramels, toffees, and fudges, and this contribution occurs when the reducing sugars react with the milk proteins. So Maillard reaction can also produce flavors which are especially bitter. So this bitter flavor is very much important for the production of coffee. On the other hand, Maillard reaction can also result in off flavors and off aromas. So this off flavors and off aromas can be witnessed during pasteurization, storage of dehydrated foods, grilling of meat or fish. So that is all about the entire Maillard reaction process. So in the upcoming videos, we will discuss about the caramelization and acrylamide formation. Until then, stay tuned, keep watching, know and learn more about food technology. Thank you.